Hey guys, we're on.
That we can fly on the wings of love, and we can climb on every mountain top. I never knew eternity was real till I met you. Since that day I live in a dream.
Oh, Tilly, look how dirty you are.
You're the wind in my
This
sails.
cheeky little cattle dog
You're the
is Tilly, affectionately known as Til Til. And she loves ham hocks. Ham hocks being all the dog's hocks. See? Perfect timing.
I need.
Hello, Tanky boy.
You're the first of the year, a warm kiss in the cold. You're the whisper in my ear when I need it the most. If I was cast on an island and could only bring one thing, still you'd be all I need. All I need. I need. How do I say how much you really mean when I can't find no words to speak? Just know you're all I need. So when you're feeling blue with a weight on your chest, I can feel it too. I'll take your worst and the best. I'll be there for you, like you're there for me. 'Cause you are all I need. All I need. I need. How do I say how much you really mean when I can't find no words to speak? Just know you're all I need. You're all I need. Oh, you're all I need.
Oh, yeah, Till. Oh, there we go. Did we get that on camera? You just got ham hock. Oh, boy. So, that's exactly why they call them red heelers in Tilly's case, or blue heelers if they're blue. Australian cattle dog. And that heeling instinct is for driving cattle.
Big bulls.
Yeah.
Or
And also big Roscoes and...
sweet little tankies.
Ooh. Talking about Tilly today, mate. Not Joey. Joey doesn't care. Oh, thank you, boy. Oh yeah, Tilly, it's you. I know you're in the limelight and everyone's stealing it on you. All right. Hello.
She's definitely the toughest dog on the farm.
Oh, hands down.
I know that all our followers will already know this, but just to give perspective on how tough she is, she survived getting hit by a bus.
Not hit by a bus, run over by a bus.
Run over by a bus.
Yeah. So before we met Tilly, she was run over by a bus around 1 year old.
It was before one, like so somewhere
Yeah.
between like 7 and 12 months old.
Yeah, major rehab for her to
Reconstruction. Her whole half of her side was reconstructed.
Didn't slow her down. She's still just as crazy and still hates tyres.
Yes.
When did we meet her? We met her, she was probably about 3.5, 4 years old.
We adopted her when she was 3.
Yeah, but we met her probably
Yeah.
6 months before that. Maybe a little bit longer.
Maybe longer. I'd say we would have known her for 12 months, about
12
that
months.
before
Yeah, okay.
adopting her. So
Yeah.
Tilly was a dog that would come to the farm daycare that we ran.
Mm-hmm.
And
she started coming to the farm for exercise because her owner was unwell and not able to walk her anymore. Because Tilly got very protective. She knew that her owner was getting vulnerable and just turned into protect mum mode, and so then couldn't walk her anymore. So she came up the farm and she was a bundle of intense energy, wasn't she?
She was like a pinball.
Oh, yeah. And at first I just remember thinking, okay, we need to wear this dog out.
Yes.
You know, let's get going.
Yeah.
But quickly discovered that she had another very sweet side, and that was to humans and the kids, didn't she?
Yes. So Tilly is a red cattle dog or red heeler, and the cattle dogs are known for being very, very tough dogs, but also having that other side to them where they are very affectionate towards their humans. So Tilly is the epitome of that. She's incredibly tough and incredibly sweet.
So let's talk about this toughness for a little bit.
Yeah, so everyone just gets the brevity of like
just to really understand what's going on, because
so we've got for those that haven't been following us for a while, we have a pack of approximately 20 dogs, and they are definitely not pushover dogs.
No, the majority of those dogs are very strong, confident personalities.
Yes, pit bulls, Malagator, German shepherds,
Rottweiler.
Yep.
You know, there's some
Staffies.
Yeah, there's some big names, big breeds,
big attitudes,
and Tilly looks at all of them like they're pipsqueaks, and it's just like, whatever, bring it. You know,
I take on bulls for breakfast.
And so, and just on that, like, these dogs are bred to take on a herd of cattle and take on the bulls that are contesting, you know, or resisting the muster. So the confident bulls that come out and want to have a bit of a fight back, that's where the Australian Cattle Dog comes in. And Tilly just 100% represents that idealistic attitude for an Australian Cattle Dog, which is putting her body on the line at all costs. She just gets so much enjoyment out of running full speed into whatever it is that she's charging at, and she doesn't care about her own safety. She just goes in as hard as she possibly can, which unfortunately for Tilly is what gets her into trouble, you know, a lot of the time, where I remember when one of the times at the farm before we adopted Tilly, she ran full speed into the corner of a deck and split her head from the between her eyes all the way up behind the back of her ear. And it was, I remember, I'm not usually queasy, but I looked at her and I thought, gee, she hit pretty hard, and you couldn't see a cut in her skin because her hair is so thick. And I got her to come over and I just touched her head, and the whole top of her scalp just opened up as the ear fell to the side. I was like, ooh, okay, we need to take this dog to the vet.
But that's how hard she hits things,
and
that she can split it.
And just
like
didn't make a sound, just got straight back up and kept going after the ball, like just...
At the time, that was new and shocking for us.
We'd never seen anything like that before, yeah.
When we obviously took her to the vet to have it stitched up,
yeah.
And we called Tilly's owner, Roxy, at the time. And Roxy didn't even bat an eyelid.
She's like, silly Tilly.
Like,
she does
this
that
is
all
what
the
she
time.
does.
I was like,
yeah.
What? Yeah, she knew full well what Tilly's attitude was, what her mentality was, and the key difference here to most dogs, like if you take other staunch, tough dogs, for example, they might hold their ground in quite challenging environments. We're talking about not holding your ground, but full 100% committed sprinting directly at you. It's the quality that front row footballers need to possess, you know, and not everyone who even plays footy has that quality in them, but Tilly has it in spades. I've seen her before run full speed at the goats, and the goats didn't move before she got there. So she literally ran into the fence because they didn't move, and she's like, well, I'm going to get you then, and just headbutted them through the fence, and it was like, okay, got him. Like, what is going on with this dog? That's the commitment and the intensity that she's got for that tough mentality. Unfortunately, it's to the detriment of her own health physically, because she just puts her body on the line and will not back down. She full sprints at whatever it is she's chasing and commits 100%.
Even now, when really she should be taking it easy.
Slowing down and looking after herself.
She has recently survived life-saving surgery.
Very recently.
From quite an aggressive and very large tumour, the size of a rock melon, they said.
Yeah, they say that it's one of the more aggressive ones, and they say that unfortunately this one always ends up being the end result. It always comes back, and they always end up dying from this cancer. So
we're on limited time with Tilly, but Tilly definitely isn't seeing it that way. Or if she is,
she's like, I'm making the most of it.
Yeah.
Stuff you all, I'm back. You thought you got rid of me, here I am.
So it's really hard to keep her rested and quiet.
And at the same time, got to let her live life.
We do. But she still is telling everybody what for.
Oh, yeah. And it used to be a really big issue for daycare, because she was a dog that when she first came, she had to be managed on her days that she came to the farm. Then when we adopted her, she was here every day, 24/7, and she got to see, you know, the other 120 dogs that came up on the 4 other days that she wasn't coming.
I would say that there was management when she was coming up for daycare, but the management in terms of when she was adopted by us was way more, because she knew that this was her home and this was her family.
All of a sudden, all these other dogs were visitors.
Yeah.
To her house.
And so her attitude it skyrocketed.
Yeah.
So we adopted Tilly when she was 3 years old. She had been coming to the daycare for 12 months at that point. Was
she 3 or 4?
We learnt that her beautiful owner, Roxy, was battling breast cancer. And sadly, over the time that we were caring for Tilly at the daycare, you know, on a weekly basis, we saw Roxy decline in health. And finally, there was a time where Roxy was getting her things in order, knowing that
the end was coming.
And she called us, letting us know that Tilly was going to live with
on another farm somewhere. Out in the middle of nowhere.
It was a really large farm, so Tilly would have had a lot of space to run around. However, the owner was quite elderly, and Roxy was concerned and expressed to us her concern that, knowing Tilly, that she would
Get herself into
herself
trouble.
into a situation that she wouldn't survive.
Yeah.
So whether it be like a wild boar situation,
Yeah,
a cattle
snake.
situation, a snake situation, she was very concerned. And this was a week out from Roxy dying.
Yeah, it was,
So it just
was-
didn't
she was-
seem right
she
that
was
she was going to
quiet.
pass away and be
worrying
stressed
about Tilly.
Tilly. So we decided it could have been just me. I may not have.
So I've just told the dogs to be quiet, so then Tilly's jumped in and she's telling them all what for. It's like, you hear that? Everybody, keep it down. They're filming.
So I was going to say that we decided to. Well,
let's be honest.
I think the phone call went.
Sam informed me that we'd now adopted a dog. That's how it went down.
I feel like anyone at home in that situation, hearing from Roxy,
When you told
her
me-
stress and concern, and
I'm
we
down.
all know how wonderful Tilly is and how much we love her, how that we were never going to,
No.
allow Roxy to feel that way and for Tilly to go to that other home. So I said, how would you feel, Roxy, if we adopted Tilly and Tilly lived with us? And of course that was just the
Yeah.
best news. So
Which was good. Good for Roxy to know that she's going to be taken care of and have
That's
the
right.
best possible life up here on the farm, which she already loved coming up on her
Yes.
daycare days, and so it was a really positive thing that she could just let go of and know that Tilly's going to be fine.
So it took somewhere between 12 and 18 months for Tilly to really settle in here at the farm. And of course, a part of that was accepting that this was now her home and that she wasn't going home. In that time, Tilly was grieving the loss of her mum,
Yeah.
Roxy. She wasn't herself. We knew the happy, vibrant Tilly that would come to daycare. And she was quite depressed, to be honest.
She was very
And
worried.
She was very worried. So, as much as we were trying to make her comfortable and give her lots of love, we knew that she was a little depressed and concerned, and it was a similar time for Lily. So, because Lily is a similar story on Lily's end in terms of how the dogs feel.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know?
Going through the same process, the same.
Worrying about their owner and their health, and then being separated from them, not knowing, is this now home or not, and what has happened to my owner, and then
Yeah.
eventually realizing this is my new home and accepting that and being happy and
content. You can really see the moment they accept
yes, exactly. And it was virtually the same time for both Lily and
Yeah.
Tilly. There was a little while there where Tilly's family, as in the children who are older, they're in
Yeah.
their 20s,
that. Yeah. They would come up and
they would come and visit like at Christmas time, and Tilly completely remembered them.
Oh yeah.
Didn't she?
I remember
That first time.
I remember the first time one of the boys gave me a call and just said, "Can I just come up and see Tilly?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, come up," you know. And Tilly, at the time, was a dog that was so intense in the pack, and next thing, he does
very
this.
focused on the activities.
Very focused on the activity. Hard to get her attention away. Like, she's really intense. And I remember he did this really soft whistle, and I was like,
that was something that they did.
yeah, it was a specific call
Yes.
that obviously he would have with Tilly, you know, in her younger years. And I was like, oh, she's not going to hear that. And instantly Tilly just, the ears pricked up, she spun around, and the total body language changed, as if to say, where is he, where is he?
Just
and then
running over, rolling over. She was so excited.
so excited and happy to see him.
Yeah.
Hello, darling.
Oh, you're a big whacker.
Jack. And so instantly I knew that, you know, that sound, that whistle had been tattooed into her brain, and she knew exactly who it was.
Yeah.
And just was like, where is he? You know?
Yeah.
It was cool. It was cool to see. It did make me quite sad as well, realising, you know.
Same. And we haven't seen them for a while now. I'm sure
Yeah.
that they pop in online every now and then to see how Tilly's going.
Yeah.
But I can also imagine that there's a point where they have to
They
stop
have
or
to
separate from
heal
doing
and-
it for themselves, and also, I guess, for Tilly.
Mm.
But they've always been welcome here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was why Tilly is here.
That's how Tilly came to the farm.
we adopted her. So we've had Tilly now
Tilly-
for 6 years.
Tilly was our very first, wasn't she? As far as adoptions go.
That's right. Yes. And there was a good few years there where Tilly was the queen in terms of activity and ability.
Oof.
She was the fastest dog at the farm.
Ah. Okay, so I used to do these motorbike runs where I would time or gauge how fast, how many kilometres per hour the fastest dog would run. And Tilly just smoked him, didn't she?
Because on the
She-
quad bike it says how fast you're going.
Yeah. And the difficult part for Tilly was actually catching up to her to get her speed, because she was so far out in front. And she was just so impressive, her physical ability
Yes.
and her endurance. None of the other dogs could keep up with her. But unfortunately, as the years went on, the
Arthritis got the better
from
of
her injuries when she was a puppy from the bus started to creep up, and you could see, you know, she had a lot shorter stride in her gait. She had a lot more trouble the following days, so we started to have to give her days on, days off as far as the daycare routines were concerned. And it's been ongoing like that as the years get on. And so when we sit here and say that even today she sprints out of the house and runs up and down the fence to, you know, bark at whoever, yeah, I just look at her and think, when I'm that old in human years as you are in dog years, I hope I've got that energy.
If we're to speak really honestly with everybody in terms of Tilly's time during daycare days, so from, oh goodness, I don't know, like what is it? It's only a period of a couple of years that she was with us before we went into the rescue work and then closed down the daycare. However, it was very challenging for you having Tilly as a dog who knew that this was her territory and her family, with that kind of attitude, and 40
new dogs
40
every
new
day.
dogs arriving every day that were not
all
not
on the
our
menu.
pack and not our family in her eyes. So
Yeah.
we can't do this video without talking about
exactly how much heartache and stress and anxiety she caused me trying to manage her during some of these activities. You have to touch on just how difficult Tilly made my day-to-day workings.
if anyone out there is thinking of starting a daycare, maybe don't adopt a cattle dog and start a daycare.
Yeah, Tilly. Tilly had to be managed on most of the activities, any of the really intense activities, for one of two possible scenarios.
She couldn't help but think that you think about the intense activities that we ran here at a daycare.
Yeah.
We weren't any normal daycare.
No,
we didn't just walk around and
we would take them to the farm and run them all day with all these stimulating activities to help bring the dogs out of their shell, help them to grow within themselves, grow some confidence, and really love the pack mentality and the activities and everything. And they used
go
to
home exhausted.
absolutely exhausted. They would fall asleep in the bus as soon as we left, and they'd be asleep the whole way. The owners would all say they sleep for 1 or 2 days after they come back from the farm. It was just an awesome day here. It was so
Yes.
action-packed.
And the activities were not only super intense, they were played with a pack of 40 or 50 dogs.
Yeah.
So not with a pack of like
5
10
or 6. Yeah,
or
no, there was a lot of dogs
it
here.
was a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
And it was almost like Tilly was having flashbacks to her ancestry of being in amongst a herd of cattle.
She was
transported back.
Her family lineage and spirits were coming back to her and like, this is your time, Tilly. And in the crowd of dogs all jumping around excited, chasing this big ball, you would just see dogs flying like this as she's going underneath them all at full speed and pushing them all out of the way. So that was so that was the first way that she had to be managed, not to just bulldoze the pack to get to the front. The second one was if she hit them and then bounced off because she didn't get a good angle, or this was a very big dog or whatever, then she'd be like, move, and just at the back of their heels every time, and it would just be like, okay, we can't have this behavior at the farm. So she needed to be managed on a lot of those activities because she was very, very intense. And you may even be able to find some old videos where you can see that the activity will be going on with the rest of the dogs, and Tilly will be in a drop watching it and not allowed to engage until it was over, or it was at the end where the intensity has died down a little bit, and then it would be like, okay, Tilly. your
ball's a
turn.
good example of it. When we threw it into the dam, the most intense part of that is it flying off the dock and all the dogs anticipating that moment. And that is when
Big
Tilly
choke point.
would
Lots of
need
dogs
to
there.
be in a drop until it landed in the dam,
All the
and
dogs
then
dispersed
she could,
and then started swimming.
and then
yeah,
she'd
she would
run
go
around
to the
and-
closest point. She'd find where the ball is.
Yeah.
To the closest point, she'd sprint around to that point and then just 90-degree turn, bang, jump in and chase it.
Yeah,
The Swiss ball was hands down her favourite exercise.
it was. And when it came out of the dam, I was filming like this. I couldn't watch. This is Tilly. She would just hit that ball like,
So we never, when we first started, we used to throw it out in the open field. We used to throw it in the open field and, you know, the dogs would play with it the way you'd expect them to play with it. They'd jump in and give it a nose butt and then stop and, oh, I did it, yeah, good job, you know. Then Tilly all of a sudden was full-time here after we adopted her, and there was no convincing Tilly to tone it back. So she would control this ball and just run it, and whatever it hit, she hit just after it. And so we just thought, okay, we can't let her be in the open field with this thing anymore, and that's why we started throwing it in the dam for Tilly's sake, so she didn't just run into trees and stumps and tyres, whatever it was. She did not care. She
No.
just ran full speed at this ball. So that's why when it did accidentally leave the dam, and it would be with all of us as staff around the edge of the dam trying to stop it, you know, and then you've got 8 or 9 dogs running at you mid, "Rah, I'm going to get this ball." You've got to stand there and try and get this ball back in. And sometimes it'd bounce off you and bounce off another dog and then hit you in the face, and it bounces up and then another dog hits it, and it's just, all bets are off. And so sometimes it does end up out of the dam, and that's when you just have to cringe and hope Tilly's not going to do
but
herself a
you
mischief.
guys would race after
Oh
it.
yeah, sprint as fast
Try
as we
to
could.
stop it, or at least to get it back into the dam,
Yeah.
where it's, you know,
It's
a lot
safer.
safer.
It was fun though.
It was fun.
The dogs loved it.
They did. Definitely was Tilly's favourite
Yeah.
activity. We've had a number of cattle dogs at the farm. One of our staff members, Jason,
Oh,
his
yeah.
dog was a blue heeler,
Jimmy?
and also Adam's dog was a red heeler.
Mm-hmm.
So all 3 staff members had cattle dogs.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
we
that's right. I
also
remember that, yeah.
we also had a few other cattle dogs that came to our daycare, and they are naturally reactive.
Yeah.
That's what they're bred for.
That's what makes a good cattle dog.
That's right. And all 3 staff members had to manage their
I remember
cattle
that there was a
dogs.
point there where we were like, how did we end up here? Why did this happen? But
We used to laugh about it, and it was always in like
they all did.
how much we loved them.
Yeah.
Whilst we knew how crazy they are, we all loved them, didn't
That's
we?
why, I'm pretty sure that's why Adam and Jason got cattle dogs, because of Tilly.
Jimmy was a tough little dog. He had so much attitude, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Jace loved that about him.
It's one of those things where outside of a daycare environment, sure, but in this environment it was like, oh.
It was tough, yeah.
Generally, cattle dogs, generally they are very, very loving in a family, but very keen and willing to handle confrontation, aren't they? And that mentality of, okay, if this is a job I'm supposed to do, I'm going to do it with every inch of my body, is just such a strong trait
Yes.
among the cattle dog. A lot of the time they get a reputation of being fearless, and you'll see them doing all sorts of crazy, intense sports, and because they just will put their body on the line and not care. But they do also discover some really fun stuff that they love, don't they?
It's definitely an an adventure having a cattle dog.
Yeah.
The Australian cattle dog has come from dingoes.
Breeding with dingoes in the early settlers.
It gives you some idea of how made they are for the Australian outback.
Purpose built.
Let's talk about Tilly in terms of pack relationships. Hierarchy, where she's positioned in the pack, who her friends are, who her foes are.
Shall we start with her friends? It's a much smaller list.
Sure.
Cutie Pie.
Aww.
She loves Cutie Pie.
Cutie Pie is probably the only dog in our whole pack that Tilly loves, actually loves with her heart. She thinks that Cutie Pie is just the bee's knees.
And I think Cutie Pie looks at Tilly like, you know, we're the same. You just got given a bigger body.
I don't even think she thinks that.
Just straight out, we're the same.
I hope you don't mind if I say that I love you every day, another I do, 'cause you know I do.
One
this,
for
this
one.
is them down here now.
Yeah.
Let me just... So Tilly loves Cutie Pie and Cutie Pie loves Tilly.
Yeah.
And they often will wrestle and play in the house. And they're both tough little, like Cutie Pie's pretty tough.
Oh, yeah.
You have to think that because she's a tiny little pug in this very big dog pack.
And she's not at the bottom of the pecking order by any means.
Not at all. They all think that she's right up the top.
Yeah.
So she has a similar attitude to Tilly.
Yeah.
She just wasn't born with the
She learnt from the best.
the cattle dog body. She's in a little puggy body.
Yeah.
So her best friend would definitely be Cutie Pie.
Yeah.
I would say second on the list is Joey, but it is definitely a working dog
Relationship.
relationship.
Yeah, it's more of a respect than a love there.
Yes. So those two are the only
Yep. No, that's it.
herding dog.
That's her only friends.
Back on Cutie Pie and Tilly. Cutie Pie is the only dog that Tilly will roll over on her back and fully
Just
play and
let all the guard down and
yes,
let Cutie Pie do whatever she wants.
Yes.
And yeah.
only dog.
100%. There is nothing soft about Tilly unless it's Cutie Pie.
Yeah, or her humans.
Yeah, of course.
Yep.
Of course, yeah.
So the relationship between her and Joey
It's a different relationship.
is a different relationship.
They've got a lot of respect for each other. There's not as much of a love side of it. Like with Cutie Pie, it is 100%
love.
With Joey,
It is all respect though. I think they see each other as
Oh yeah, with Cutie Pie you mean?
no,
Or with Joey?
no, with Joey.
Oh.
They see each other that they are above
The rest of them.
the rest of them.
Yeah.
So-
It's like as they pass each other in the hallway, it's fist bump.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
That's what it is
Yes.
with Tilly and Joey. It's that respect as you pass. You just we know. You know?
Yeah.
No one else knows, but we know.
Secretly, Tilly would still think that she is above Joey,
Huh, no question.
but
Oh, it's not a respect of we're even. It's a respect of you're cool.
yes, we're
You're
different
cool,
to
I'm
all
cool.
the others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, Joey wouldn't dare challenge Tilly.
No.
And Tilly and Joey both know that. Yeah, Joey's on the inner circle, but Tilly's on top. That's how the relationship is.
Yes. Yeah. And then everyone else,
Mean nothing.
no.
Absolutely nothing. They're just back legs in the way.
Blowflies.
Yeah. You're all just ham hocks to me.
Yeah. Cattle that needs moving on.
Yeah, she will sit there in the hallway and just every set of legs that goes past.
It's air snapping,
Yeah.
isn't it? As they walk past.
It didn't used to be air snapping. We had to train her not to bite all the dogs. And then now it's turned into just like a...
And she does it slowly, doesn't she?
Yeah,
Just goes,
like real delicately, like I could just take your Achilles heel here. Funny
you've
to
got to
watch.
laugh though
It's so
when you
funny.
see it, don't
Yeah.
you? Because you can see what she's saying to herself,
Ah,
you know?
yeah. And you can see what she's saying to the dogs.
It's a little bit, I feel like it's a little bit similar to what Abra does when she has the toy in her mouth and she goes up to the other dogs and just shakes it in their face like, this is what I could do to you, or this
Yeah.
is what I would do to you if
It's the same...
Dad said I could.
Yeah, it's the same message, but Tilly is way more elegant about it.
Yeah, she does it in
She-
slow-mo and just
Oh.
goes,
And, you know, and slow-mo and maturity of like Abra's running along going, you see this toy? That's you. In my head, that's you, know? She's really trying to convince the dog. Tilly's not trying to convince any dog.
No.
She's just like, you know, what's that music that always goes along with it? Dun, 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 and she's just playing through, just biting hocks. She's in her own world, just like, I'll take that one, I'll take that one. Not trying to convince anyone that she's the boss. She knows, hands down. There's
Yeah.
no doubt in her mind.
yeah,
Whereas Abra is still talking to them, like wanting them to understand.
yes, yeah,
Tilly doesn't have that.
no, yeah,
So Tilly's least favourite.
yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Shall we both answer separately?
Sure. You want to say it at the same time as one of those things, or what do you mean?
I'm just trying to think.
I've got two, and I just don't know.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like Shadow's up there.
Mm.
No.
Well, not as high as the other one I've got.
Yeah, okay. Say the Staffy sisters are definitely up there
Miss Red.
because they're
Miss Red
they're
is.
so cheeky annoying.
Oh, and Tilly just looks at them and just thinks, if I met
Just
you,
wants to whip them into
yeah,
shape.
If I met you before Luke trained me, you'd be mincemeat. She knows that she's not allowed to do
They are
anything, but-
such young whippersnappers in her mind, aren't they? And they just need
Yeah.
some discipline,
Oh, and some real you know,
old-fashioned discipline.
yeah. That's exactly what she thinks of those
Yeah.
two. Yeah.
So who's at the top? It's
Sorry?
them. Is it them for you, the
Miss
Staffy
Red.
sisters? Oh, it is Miss
Miss Red, yeah. Yeah.
Miss Violet does get thrown into those.
Unfortunately, Miss Violet gets
But-
gets caught into it, and
She doesn't quite
but
have the attitude
tell you
that
why-
Miss Red has.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I'll tell you why Miss Red is higher up in her list than Miss Violet, because Miss Violet turns around and just says in her body language, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for
so sorry,
I'm sorry for
Tilly."
upsetting you." You know,
Yes.
whereas Miss Red just runs out of her way and turns around and is like, "Nah, miss me." Keeps running. So Tilly's just like,
Oh, gonna get you. She shakes her fist.
yeah, yeah. And there has been times where she did get her. I've witnessed a couple of those, but we can't let that happen.
Yeah. And Shadow has to be up there because Shadow and Miss Red are very similar personalities.
Shadow is a lot more mature, and she understands. Stay away from Tilly.
She does.
The two staffies don't.
Yeah.
The two little ones, the sisters, they don't. They They got rainbows and unicorns running around in their head, and all of a sudden the big scary cattle dog jumps out of the picture.
So what do we love best about Tilly?
Ooh, I find these kind of things quite difficult because there's so many attributes and characteristics that I love about Tilly. So pick one.
I can't go past her love
I already
for
know
the
it. Yeah,
children,
I knew you were going to say that one.
because that is, I feel,
It's undeniable and unwavering.
Yes. And hey, we probably haven't shown it that much with Tilly, but she loves the kids so intensely. She's that dog that she won't even get out of their way, you know, if
No.
they were to crash tackle her. She would just absorb that as love and lick their nose.
Yeah, even if they accidentally injured her, she would still just be so accepting of that affection.
Yeah.
You know, it is something that you 100% would trust Tilly with your kids without any supervision, any time of the day.
Yeah.
24/7, she just
hand on heart, 100%.
adores those kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember thinking when we first moved to this property, now we've put up snake mesh, but
Snake barriers and all the
when
fences,
we
yeah.
first bought the property,
There were snakes everywhere.
there were snakes everywhere, and we could obviously only do one section at a time. I think it took 12 months to complete the fencing, didn't it?
Yeah, the fencing contract was 12 months. Yeah.
So there was a period where we moved here, but we were not completely protected as in fenced in, but even when we were, all the snakes were inside the
Yeah,
fence,
so
and they had to be relocated.
So this paddock here that we're in was the working paddock. So this is where the dogs would come up from Sydney. They would
So it
go
was
into
the
this.
first one to be
They were going to this
protected.
paddock and this paddock only.
Yeah.
And then as the months went on, the fencing continued, and eventually we got more paddocks that we could use. And once we fenced in the entire property, it's easy to flush out any snakes that are here in the open ground and complete the fencing and know that there's no snakes here. But when you're fencing in, 15 acres of bushland, there's no way of flushing out those snakes. You just have to,
Over time, as they appear, you just relocate
as
them.
you encounter them, I'd catch them and then let them go just down the road here at the creek. And we did that for probably about 18 months, 2 years before we stopped seeing them.
Yeah. So when we first moved here, Evie was a baby, and Elle would have been 2.5
Yep.
years old, and Tilly had just come to live with us. But I remembered thinking that was my concern.
Yeah, new baby.
Just no, is it that my concern was that Tilly was going to protect the children from a snake and she was going to get bitten,
Yeah.
because
yeah.
she's that dog that would, if a snake came near the kids, she would have
Absolutely. There's
gone
no,
at it
there's-
to protect the children.
There's no question.
And I worried that, with how many snakes there were at the time when we first moved here, that, that was going to be a problem. But thankfully, that never happened. Anytime we
again-
saw a snake,
Yeah.
you just catch it and relocate it, and we managed to get ourselves into a pretty good situation a couple of years later, didn't we? When they were all on the other side of the fence.
My favourite trait Yeah. Well, I don't know that it's her best trait, but it's my favourite.
Okay.
And it is that just unwavering, fearless commitment to the competition. Like, just no other attitude of any other dog compares to it. And I really love it.
It is undeniable, isn't it?
I love it about her. It's a trait that in a lot of scenarios is undesirable.
Yeah.
However, it's got to be right up there with one of those, you know, you see her do it and you just have to take your hat off and well done, Tilly. Good effort, mate. Good job. You know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where you see in my lifetime where you'll see tough guys get humbled and you don't expect it, or you'll see guys that you didn't expect really show some guts, and instantly you have a bit more of a respect for them, you know. Tilly just is one of those where it's just high fives in the locker room. You nailed it today, bang. You know, that's what I love about her.
So this is where we talk about training. Now, it's a really interesting one, I think, for a dog like Tilly, who is bred to work. So the red heeler, they were known to be in the working group of dogs, and then they were moved over to the herders more recently. Now, they are bred to be trained at a very high level of performance.
Yeah.
And they are also bred to be trained and perform for a master. That's just how it is. And so I think that kind of DNA and ancestry, you can't help but reflect on that when talking about what kind of training a dog like that requires and how they respond to training. So
they're a tough dog, so they need a tough owner.
They definitely do need a strong leader. They respect consistency, and they really do expect that from you. They have very high expectations of you as an owner, and if you fall short, then they definitely don't see you as
the respect
master material. Yeah. And that's where respect is lost. So they're very good at identifying holes in your
armour, so to speak.
Yeah. So
a lot of dogs are.
They are. But I would definitely say that Tilly and Joey, the Kelpie and Cattle Dog,
very intelligent. They're very intelligent. They are desirable working dogs because they are able to make decisions on their own on the fly, and that's a desirable trait when dealing with an unpredictable herd. So, in saying that, you do have to earn your position with those dogs. You can't just come in at anyone and say, okay, I'm the boss now. They'll look at you and go, really? We'll see about that. It's that kind of attitude.
They just bring out their clipboard.
Yeah.
They've got their checklist that makes up.
Oop, red pen for this one. So, however, if you are the right personality, or you're a good match for a cattle dog, they are so rewarding. They are so rewarding.
Tilly, back in the training days, she
Very
could do
impressive.
a very impressive demonstration.
Yeah.
So exercise-wise, she required extensive amounts of exercise back in the day when she was young and in her prime. Obviously now
She's old.
Yeah.
She's old and sore.
that's not the case, and she just wants to hang out with us.
Yeah, there's
A lot more rest period, but back in the day, she required a lot of exercise.
They require a lot of exercise, but they do have a tendency to adopt a lazy mentality and can quite easily put on weight if they get into that state because of their love for food. So what they should get is a lot of exercise, and they're a dog that will adapt to whatever exercise regime is put in front of them on a regular basis, and it is what is so awesome about the cattle dog is their adaptability into almost any environment.
Is she independent or dependent?
If we're talking about the dogs, 100% independent. She could be the only dog on the farm and she'll be just as happy. If we're talking about the family, all she wants to do is hang out with us.
So
And
she's not independent on that. It's
No.
not. She's not dependent to the point of anxiety. That is definitely
No,
not
it's
the
out of-
case.
purely out
She's
of
a very
love.
balanced dog.
It's purely out of love.
Yeah.
She will happily fall asleep against the brick wall on the hard floor. However, if the kids go to bed, she will always go up and nudge the door and look at me like, can I jump into bed with the girls? And most of the time, you know, I don't even open the door anymore. She opens
She
it
just
and
lets
just
herself
goes
in.
and
Ever
hangs
since
out
she
in
came
there.
back from surgery,
Yeah.
and it was almost like she heard us say aloud, which we did, that
You can do whatever you
Tilly
want now.
can do whatever she wants now. There's no rules apply, and she took that from the minute she got home. She just lets
See
herself.
this card I've got here, guys? See this? See this? VIP pass, access all areas. That's me. That's me.
Yeah. So she just opens doors herself and takes herself off to sleep with the girls.
Yeah.
So a health update on Tilly.
Yeah, post-surgery, she is doing very, very well. She's full of energy, she's full of attitude, she is not showing any signs of, you know, slowing down or being uncomfortable, or, you know, she's looking perfectly on the outside. On her recent bloods that we did, she had some very mild elevations in a few of the readings, and the doctor or the vet at SASH said these aren't currently anything to be alarmed about. However, being just outside of the normal bracket, she wants to do some more investigation with an x-ray and an ultrasound, just to see if anything is going to cause those numbers to keep slowly increasing, which would eventually be a problem. So as a let's get ahead of the game plan, she's going in tomorrow for some chest x-rays and also an MRI. And while she's under, she does have a growth on the side of her chest, which was, I believe, 2.7 centimetres in diameter when they removed the cancer, and currently it's 3.2. So it's grown a little bit in that 2-month period since surgery. So they're going to have a look at that. They're going to do some chest x-rays. They're going to just have a look and see if anything else is coming up. And remembering that this cancer that she got cut out, they say 100%, or it comes back 100% of the time. And the dogs always die from this cancer at some stage. They unfortunately, it's a pretty bad one. So that's why we're jumping ahead of the game, trying to find anything that is coming back at its earliest stage and do what we can to help her out. So tomorrow she's going in, but other than that, very, very healthy, happy, and content. The surgery was a huge success, and she has got some serious life to make up for, because she knows it's going to be short-lived. She's on borrowed time.
Yeah. She's making the most of it.
Yeah. But
Oh, there she goes.
whenever you hear that bark, if you were to convert that into English, it would all be beeped out. Otherwise, we would be cancelled from YouTube. That's what you don't know about Tilly.
Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Oh,
Lily's opposite. Lily's saying that bloody German Shepherd is so misbehaved. But Tilly, on the other hand, is shouting expletives, isn't she? So Tilly,
So
Queen Bee.
Till. She definitely is the queen of the farm.
Did we say where she was on the pecking order, or we just?
Oh, yeah, where is she?
She's the top.
We often talk about Fredo and Roscoe being at their top, and they are those big, powerful figures, aren't they?
They are.
And in their minds, they would probably see themselves as...
In their minds, yeah, they, well, in their mind, they're the ones on top of the dogs that matter. The ones on top of the dogs that need to know who's in charge.
That's right.
They're on top.
That's right.
Tilly couldn't give two hoots about everyone below her.
No.
She only looks up, and she's at the top, so she just
Yeah.
doesn't. They're all equally beneath her,
Yes.
as far as she's concerned.
And she's also not, she doesn't play into politics. So,
Not at all.
So Roscoe, just as an example, a lot of dogs will lick the mouth of Roscoe, and it's giving him respect, and he then in return gives them that respect.
Yeah, it's a mutual exchange of you're in charge, and Roscoe's saying, yeah, I'm in charge.
Yes,
You
I
expect me?
appreciate.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he's
your-
conversing with them.
But
Tilly, get away from me.
yeah,
Don't lick my face.
yeah.
Don't waste my time.
I don't even want to see you.
Yeah.
Let alone.
Your presence offends me.
Yeah,
That's the attitude
that's
from
the
Tilly.
attitude that she has.
Oh, Lily.
So
Oh, Lily.
Tilly's definitely up there. When it
I have
comes
seen-
to
I have seen-
attitude, but she definitely doesn't have the physical ability to, I guess if it came down to it, to have to...
Like Roscoe, if Roscoe and Tilly got into it, there's no question
Yeah.
Roscoe is a much bigger, more powerful dog. The difference is Roscoe wouldn't dare because Tilly. It's Tilly. Tilly has that attitude. Roscoe wants nothing to do with it. Roscoe's happy to respect, yep, that's your position, no problem. And Tilly, gives Roscoe his freedom to go and run around and play politics too.
Yeah.
Couldn't care less.
Yeah,
Fredo
different story.
Fredo overstepped the line one time, and
Because I do feel like Fredo is very different to Roscoe.
yeah, they are.
Whilst he also, you will see very often other dogs licking his face, and he is talking to them, communicating back and accepting that respect. He is a lot, I would say a lot more of a serious dog, you know, whereas like it's not that Roscoe isn't serious, but
Fredo doesn't have many playful interactions. Roscoe is very playful.
yeah. And so Fredo and Tilly would have a bit of mutual respect for each other.
They do, and Fredo pushed his luck one time and definitely ate some humble pie.
With Till.
Yeah, I think he tried to. He got frustrated. Fredo got frustrated that he wasn't fast enough, didn't get whatever, and he tried to get. I think it was Tank to get the ball, and he missed, and he turned around and just went, "Oh, get out of my way," to Tilly. Potentially not really knowing that it was Tilly, but anyway, gave Tilly a little nip on the butt. Whoo-wee. Did Fredo end that encounter with his tail between his legs, running out of the picture, and Tilly just like spitting the dark hair out of her face, like all stuck in her mouth. And I just laughed and said, "That's what you get, Fredo, for taking on the cattle dog."
It is. Yeah, good
Good girl, too. Yeah. So this is also something that you unfortunately do need to be aware of, and because of her medication, I need to go and wash my face after this. They did say to avoid it, but you know, there's a period or a line that is just, you know, you can't deny her affection in this later stage of her life, because
Absolutely.
what's the point? So we just have no change, and then when she does lick you like that, then you just got to go and wash your hands, wash your face.
What a good girl you are, Chichu. So beautiful. So beautiful. Yes.
Did someone say beautiful? That's what he just said. Oh,
Must have been
surprise.
talking about me.
Yeah. That's my cue. Better get over there. Good girl, Till. Good girl, Till. Tilly was the easiest dog to. You know how sometimes you get dogs that, you know, you can rev them up and get them going.
Yeah.
Some dogs you really got to find, you know, what gets them going. But then Tilly, all you had to say to her was, "Tilly, where's it?" Psst. And she used to just instantly start running around barking, and yeah.
Aww. Yeah. All right. Well, that's Tilly.
Tilly, the cattle dog, the Australian cattle dog, red heeler.
You're the wind in my sails, you're the pull of the sea, you're the wish in the well, you're my faithful belief. If the whole wide world was offered to me, still you'd be all I need. You're the first of the year, a warm kiss in the cold. You're the whisper in my ear when I need it the most. If I was cast on an island and could only bring one thing, still you'd be all I need. All I need, I need. I say how much you really mean when I can't find no words to speak. Just know you're all I need. I can feel it too. I'll take your worst and the best. I'll be there for you, like you're there for me. 'Cause you are all I need, all I need. I need. How do I say how much you really mean when I can't find no words to speak? Just know you're all I need. You're all I need. Oh, you're all I need. You're the wind in my sails. You're the pull of the sea. You're the wish in the well, and my faithful belief. If the whole wide world was offered to me, still you'd be all I need.
Hello, Tattoo. G'day, guys. So we've just picked up Tilly from her day in a hospital. She had chest x-rays and she had MRI done and she had blood work done. She had a some investigation into the lump on the outside of her chest. Good news is that no further signs of cancer was detected in either her abdomen or lungs. There was very good bloods. They were stable, same as last time. We also did some urine sampling and it came back a little bit alkaline and a little bit diluted as well, which means just showing signs of the kidneys not performing at optimal, which was expected, but nothing to worry about at this stage apparently, and just going to use that as a bit of a baseline moving forward and monitor any changes to that. So all in all, very, very good, in perfect health considering, and really, really positive that we haven't seen any signs of the cancer returning at this stage. So it's been, I think we worked it out to be 7 weeks since she had the cancer removed. And typically they do see some signs of it returning by this stage. So at this stage, she's in very good condition moving forward, and we just need to continually monitor. We've booked in for more bloods in another 4 weeks and another chest x-ray MRI in 8 weeks. So excellent stuff. Unfortunately, Tilly had to spend the day in hospital again, but this looks like it's just going to be how it is moving forward, and she did very, very well. Very well behaved. All the nurses and vets love Tilly. She's very sweet. She gets lots of pats and liver treats. And now it's time to go home and have some dinner. Good girl, Till. Good girl, darling. All right, so good news. Big relief. They did a biopsy on that lump on the outside of her chest, in like just skin deep, just below skin, and it was all just fatty at this stage. So for that one, they said let's just keep an eye on it. If it does continue to grow, then she recommends that we remove it, but at this stage it seemed like it was just a fatty lump, which is also a positive sign. So awesome stuff. Very happy. We're a little bit concerned, as we know that this cancer will reappear in the future at some stage, but it's not yet. Good girl, darling. Okay, let's go.